When I stepped into our home that evening, I was already in high spirits, still riding the buzz from the company's annual celebration. The warmth of the familiar space greeted me, along with the faint aroma of cinnamon tea wafting from the kitchen. "You wouldn't believe the drama we had at the party," I called out, shrugging off my coat. Laura peeked around the corner, her favorite mug cradled in her hands. Her dark hair was pulled back, and the soft light from the kitchen framed her face in a way that momentarily made me forget everything else. "Let me guess," she teased with a smile. "Another fire alarm prank like last year? Or was it the dance-off that ended in someone's sprained ankle?" I laughed, walking into the kitchen. "Not this time. Actually, it was pretty tame. Well, mostly." Her brow lifted with curiosity as she sipped her tea. "Mostly?" "Yeah." I leaned against the counter, feigning nonchalance. "One of the girls from HR, Samantha, tried to get a little too friendly. She came up to me, all dolled up in red, and said she was bored with married life. Can you imagine?" Laura's laughter was soft, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. "Oh? And what did you say?" "I told her to find someone else to complain to. End of story," I replied with a shrug. Her lips curved into a smile, but it lingered just a moment too long, the kind that wasn't entirely genuine. "Well," she said, turning away, "at least you know how to handle yourself." That night, as I was scrolling through my phone in the living room, Laura sat beside me, unusually quiet. Her tea mug was long forgotten on the coffee table. "Andrew," she began, her voice softer than usual, "can we talk?" The way she said it made my stomach tighten. "Sure," I said, setting my phone down. "What's on your mind?" She pulled the blanket over her lap, her fingers twisting the fabric nervously. "Remember the New Year's party 2 years ago? The one you couldn't make it to?" I nodded, the memory faint but there. "Yeah, I had to work late. You said it was fun." "It was," she said, her voice tight. "But something happened that night. Something I never told you." Her words landed like a stone in my chest. "What do you mean?" I asked, my voice cautious. She looked away, unable to meet my eyes. "I was drunk, and there was this moment with someone from work. The new manager. It was stupid and meaningless, but—" Her voice faltered. "It happened." The room seemed to close in around me. "Are you telling me you cheated on me?" I said, barely recognizing my own voice. "It was a mistake, Andrew. It was one night, and I've regretted it every day since," she said, tears brimming in her eyes. For a moment, I was too stunned to react. Then the anger came, sharp and searing. "A mistake," I snapped. "You carried this mistake for 2 years and never thought to tell me? Were you planning on keeping it buried forever?" "I didn't know how to tell you," she cried. "I didn't want to hurt you." I stood, pacing the room, as emotions surged within me. Hurt, betrayal, fury. Hurt me? "Laura, you destroyed us the moment you made that choice." "It didn't mean anything," she pleaded. "It was one drunken night. I wasn't thinking clearly." "Don't you dare minimize it," I roared. "You betrayed me, Laura. You betrayed everything we built together." She reached for me, but I stepped back. "Don't," I said coldly. "Don't touch me." I grabbed my coat and stormed out into the night. The cold air bit at my skin, but I welcomed the sting. It was the only thing grounding me. I walked aimlessly, my mind churning with questions. Why now? Why confess after 2 years? Was it guilt, or was there something more she wasn't telling me? The thought gnawed at me, planting a seed of doubt that began to grow roots. The next day, still reeling, I decided I couldn't let this go unanswered. Something didn't add up. Laura's confession felt incomplete, as if there was more she wasn't saying. When she left for her errands, I searched her desk, something I'd never done before. Amid old bills and random knickknacks, I found a small box tucked away. Inside was a photo, a candid snapshot of Laura and a man I didn't recognize. They were laughing, their bodies angled toward each other in a way that spoke of familiarity. The date scrawled on the back confirmed it, the New Year's party. That evening, I confronted her. "Who is he?" I demanded, holding up the photo. Laura's face drained of color. "Where did you find that?" "That's not the question," I snapped. "The question is, why do you have this? Why did you lie?" She sank into the couch, her hands trembling. "Andrew, Don't," I cut her off. "Don't try to spin this. Just tell me the truth." And she did. The affair had lasted longer than she initially claimed. It hadn't ended with that one night. They had seen each other for months before she broke it off. "It meant nothing," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "It meant nothing," I echoed bitterly. "You don't destroy a marriage over nothing." The divorce was swift. The house, the memories, the plans we had made together, all of it was stripped down to the raw truth. She had chosen someone else, and that choice had consequences. Months later, as I stood in the now empty living room, I realized the house felt lighter. The weight of betrayal was gone, replaced by something unexpected. Clarity. In the end, her lies unraveled her story. But they gave me one gift: freedom. And with that freedom, I began to rebuild. Not just my home, but myself.